Welcome, Adventure. I'm GM Goblin, your GM Goblin. Today, I want to see if your characters have their bags packed and they're ready for an actual adventure. Today, we're going to cover what your character should probably be carrying with them and some of the options that I look for in my players' bags, as well as some of the opportunities that those items can give you. So, stick around and let's see how your character is equipped. So, this is probably one of the things that most people don't think about. A lot of these, actually, especially some of my players. But your character's outerwear, their clothing. And easiest thing to look at is in the gear and equipment for Pathfinder. You're looking at the outfits. Adventurer's outfit is going to be most common, specifically states it has your cloak, your outerwear, your normal traveling boots, lots of pockets. It's just what everyone gets. You get something 10 gold or less when you first start off for any character, and your outfit is not considered to be part of what you carry as a whole, so you don't have to worry about encumbrance for it. Most people don't ever change it. My current campaign, we're doing a bunch of little soirees with Mummy's Mask, and so we're actually in royal clothing and trying to deck ourselves out and look all pretty and stuff. But outfits can offer other opportunities. And like I just said, with us switching it for our soiree, outfits can also set the mood. You may be wanting to do a check for persuasion with a character, but if you look like rabble, or if you are covered in dragon blood or whatever, maybe you're going to get a negative to that. It's going to be harder for you to convince. Maybe it's going to be easier. Who knows? But the clothes can fit the circumstance. There are also other things: hats, umbrellas, parasols, scarves. These items are going to give you bonuses to different things. Either it's the sun, elements, heat stroke, anything from dust to a fortitude save increase. There are multiple small items that I think matter, and it's one of the things that I think people should put a little more time in whenever they're packing out their character. Another thing that is very small, practically weightless, and that is excellent is going to be a candle. If you want to have a little less light, and there's a couple luminary devices on here, but if you want to have a little less light, or if you want to set something up and just leave it, either it's burning through a rope, either it's to set a fire, either it's to just leave in a window to draw attention and give you some slight diversion because you're sneaking into a place. Candles are great. Cost anything, light them up. It's good. Another one, your 10-foot pole. I do recommend your character getting a folding pole, obviously. That way they can stow it in their backpack and they're not walking around and it being annoying. But it's extremely cheap. Most of these items are. And we're running through Mummy's Mask. It has paid for itself and saved our lives in spades, literally multiple times. So we have used it when going through and checking for traps constantly. You can use it to in between objects, attach a rope to between two trees, just whatever. It's just a large object that has a million and one different uses. So it's another one of those that's just great to have. Chalk, charcoal, lead pencils, something. I prefer having at least charcoal and chalk with you, whether you're going to have ink and quill or not, because those kind of items can not only write on just about any surface, but they can be used for rubbings as well as just turning into a powder to do all sorts of little stuff to it. Charcoal can be used for fires and stuff. It's just excellent ability to have something with you that, once again, doesn't weigh anything. Just add it to your bag. Speaking of bags, a good bag is going to help you, not just if you're actually used to hiking about in real life or not, but your character is having a masterwork bag or a couple of the other options can increase the amount of weight you can take, which is going to make it easier for your character to move around. Now, of course, we're all going to get haversacks and bags of holding as you gain a few levels. And those are things that you should look at. I allow custom bags to be made. I use the same rules for a handy haversack, in all honesty, as well as if it's the Pathfinder pouch, which is just a small pouch that is a 2-foot cubic square. I actually give that to familiars more often than not. I have a familiar that is a Sage familiar right now, and she carries all of her books that she needs to reference things. So when she has a few rounds, she can use that tool to gain an additional 2 to her skill checks or her knowledge. Another thing is, just like with this, is having those kind of tools. Remember, your tools are going to cost you around 50 gold a piece, and it's going to give you the same bonus as like your masterwork tools are, or lockpicking. Uh, they are dependent, but you can get them for pretty much everything. I allow them for almost every occasion, except for a few where you might have something in the middle of combat. I use books for references. You can have jewelry and armor that work for a specific region to give you bonuses to your diplomacy. There is a list, and the rules state that there is a tool allowable by your GM for every skill use for every kind of occasion. So I use them. It's just a +2 bonus, so it's not game breaking, but it's a +2 bonus, which you should be using and taking full advantage of. Water. Water is one of the things that my players do not like to keep track of. Um, if you've got a cleric on you or something, it's not a big deal because you can just create food and water. So water doesn't matter so much then. But if you don't have anyone with a magical item or a divine spell, then it is something that you should be keeping track of. Rope. Um, carry some rope with you. Unless you can make it out of thin air, you're an arcane caster or something, or you have it stored in a robe. Get some rope. Carry it with you. Silk rope is better, just in general. It's going to be lighter. It's stronger. It's also more expensive. So level 1, maybe not. Level 2, grab some silk rope. There is a bunch of other climbing equipment you can do, pythons and some things. I would grab some of those and grab some of the kits, like the climber's kit, just because it's going to allow you to use that to climb, to set up traps, to put a tripwire onto things, to use a python and drive it into a door to keep it wedged, and to be able to lock it. It is smart uses for simple and mundane items. While magic might rule, those are things that you need to be keeping track of. And I have a full list. And not just bars of soap, which have their own uses, but things like this, bedrolls, which give you extra fabric, which can be turned into coverings to cover windows, to not only keep yourself warm and cozy whenever your character finally goes to sleep, but to also allow it to feel like your character is real in the world. You're going on that adventure to Mount Doom or whatever. It's just not only something that your character as an actual individual should have or would have going on an adventure, but you can find uses for them. Anything from burning them to putting out clothes for a new pixie friend, which gets you a favor. Flint and steel. Until you want to buy tinder twigs or until you can cast a cantrip. If you can't, this. You need to be carrying this. You need to be carrying a magical item. I would prefer to carry this anyway, just because it goes into a pocket and then you can forget about it till level 20 and your GM decides that to make light a fire to survive in a room does well, I feel like it. It is something that, like most of these, are light or has no weight to it, and you should keep on your. Always have ways to light fire, create water, and protect yourself from weather. So clothes, that kind of stuff. And it's an easy thing to have. Add flint and steel. They don't make you specify for char cloth and all this other stuff. Just imagine it's all in the same tin. If you know what I'm talking about, well, then you know what I'm talking about. Torches, just like I said with the candles, they have a lot more uses than just providing light. Now, technically, wrong one. You're going to be replacing these. You can use a lantern. My familiar runs around with whatever that lantern is that has constant detect magic on it because she's the one in the party with the skill to be able to use it and identify pretty much anything magical at this point. But a light source is going to be something I actually prefer. I know everyone likes to use the torches that don't go out. What are they called? Oh, ever burning torch. But I actually prefer the ion stones. They're only like 75 gold and hands free. A little bit of a light, not a big deal. You can use either one, but there's no reason once you get a level or two you shouldn't have an ever burning torch or an ion stone or something with you constantly. But a way to actually carry mundane fire, always good because you never know either when you're going to need the heat or to just set something on fire if you don't have a normal way. So always keep normal torches with you, at least one. Otherwise, you're going to be tearing up your bedding to turn it into a torch later. Uh, food. Same thing. I know, just like the water, sustenance rings are cheap, and if you don't have an extra ring in mind, or if you've got what's that belt? There's a hemisphere belt of some sort you can add to your waist slot. It allows you to use your toes for rings. But grab you some trail rations. I watch for foods, especially in the first few levels for my players, if they don't have a way to create it themselves. And specifically in those levels, magic is so prolific and it is so easy to get past it. Those are the levels where if I'm going to starve you, it's usually going to. Unless we're dealing with an area that's completely anti magic because of whatever realm you went to, that's when I'm going to hit you with it. And so just grab you some trail rations and a couple levels. Your DM probably not going to worry about it because it's not going to matter. It's another one of those things that just gets pushed to the side, but it's good to have on your character and think, my character would have food. Duh. And so keep it on there and impress your GM for at least the first couple levels. When we're getting on to other things, tools, like I said before, can be used for just about any kind of skill, but not just any tools, which that's coming up, but also tools made of different metals. So we're breaking away just from your mundane tools. We're going to get something more specific, and then I'm going to go into a few low-level magical items that I think are fantastic. When you're fighting, Ed, when you're fighting werewolves, when you're fighting the Fae, different metals are going to come in handy. I was always the character that carries a magical item or a item that is made out of wrought iron, that's made out of silver or whatever to cover those abilities. And I've handed my weapons over to other classes before because I wasn't going to use it and they needed it. I would also suggest getting arrows if you have projectiles, but silver is not going to be that expensive to coat to it. Yes, you can do some different coatings and things that last for a short amount of time. And there's some spells that take care of this early on as well. It's one of those things that if you're going to hunt were-rats, if you're going to a forest on the lookout for a strange glowing light, then you might be looking for special materials. And I did a video on materials for armor and stuff. There's a lot of really cool ones, but it's just something to look at, especially when you want for weapons. And then, of course, you can always sell them later. When it comes to items starting to get a little more magical after this one, Wayfinder. Wayfinder gives you a +2 for survivals for knowing direction and everything like that. It's great. Plus, when you get an iron stone that actually does something later on, and I love iron stones, then pop it in here, and you're probably going to get an extra magical effect. They do nothing. It's a compass. Congratulations. And you should be using it with your character. Traveler's Any Tool. This thing is only 250 gold, and we almost always find someone that, upon reaching level 2, gets one of these. Actually, I think one of our characters used a couple feats and was able to get one of these at level 1. But it looks as though it's a normal iron bar, little plates and spikes, but it can be folded, twisted, and just bent into any known tool. Any known tool. So I use this for my characters. One or two of them always have this around. And so if they need a pry bar, shovel, shovel, block and tackle, it specifically mentions, which means you're looking at a single piece that's going to be able to be connected and it's going to be able to rotate or move. So that opens it up even more. I mean, maybe it's a hammer and a chisel that is got a cable connected to it or something. But any tool can clearly visualize that you can clearly visualize that contain only limited moving parts, such as a pair of scissors, but not a hand loom, obviously. It can be used to place missing or broken parts of machines, vehicles, unless a mundane tool would have done the job just as well, or it cannot be used for that. Counts as a masterwork tool for whenever you craft, whenever you use any of your profession skills or anything. So it helps pad that if you have multiple professions. I like characters that add to their story by being able to craft. That's another reason why we use background skills option. But any tool is something that you should always carry with you. And then you need a bucket, you got a bucket. You need a crowbar, crowbar. If you need something else, it's all right there. So it's just something that is so cheap at low levels. You or a couple people in your party should always have one. That is for clothing. Here you go. One of our low, mundane, or cheap to start off with magical items that pretty much everyone's going to get can be your Pearl Power. You're a caster. You're going to use this so that you can get back usually a first or second level spell. I don't see a whole lot of people that get the real expensive ones. They just build around to take care of it. But especially when you're dealing with buff spells, and you're going to be using this with rods and stuff to extend that later on in feats, then it's a great way to pad your character out. and be able to cover that yourselves. I mentioned already the Ion Torch. Like I said, 75 gold. You're going to be carrying around that. It's a great thing to have. Another thing, especially if you don't want to have to buy the different kinds of garments, I this in game this coming weekend for Mummy's Mask because I like to change my outfits. This item, which of course you can, if your game allows it, add this to custom made bracers if you need it. But it allows you to transform your garments into whatever you want. So it's a great way for you to sneak around. Maybe you're in full plate and you want to look like a commoner or something. This is going to make it easier for your character to get around and to just change those clothes to fit the scene where they are so that story wise they can make those checks. Now, this may not be a comprehensive list. If you've got something that you have found invaluable, whether it's twine, like the rope I mentioned, or something, or thread and needles so that you can sew things, mention stuff in the comments below. Help those people that really want to make their traveler's Bugout bag for their PC fully ready for anything their GM throws at them, whether they're a caster or not. But there's a lot of magical items, custom items that we can build, which could cover just about any circumstance. Always remember, they have to be artifacts to be useful. A lot of times, you're going to get miles of use at even the most mundane things, as long as you use your mind. Regardless, enjoy your game this weekend, guys, and have a roll at it. See ya.